Okay, let's look at a few, after looking at what the editor had to say about how we should understand the text or things that will help us understand the text. Let's look at some things that are specific to IH. So um, keep in mind that, as we're doing Sunjata in IH1, I'm doing Nietzsche's Zarathustra in IH2. So this idea of a nexus between IH1 and IH2 um, really sort of helps us with the text and delivers um, sort of the problems and that we want to look at or that we tend to look at most in IH, right? So the editor's introduction sort of gave us a sense of the scholarly intellectual debate. This part we want to look at what are the intellectual heritage debates that usually come up with this text. So looking at the discourses here, West African versus Western culture. So this is one of the major moves in the course, right? That we're being introduced to global culture, right? As well as Western culture. So we read the canonical Western culture texts, and then we read texts which have not been part of the canon, but are now being included in the canon, right? So this is, not only this text, but um, Chinese philosophical texts that we're reading, um, and other texts down the line, right? So we want to keep this in mind that there is, at the very least, a dialectic, if not a type of friction, oftentimes between Western culture and its canon of text, and then other texts coming in, right? So this, Sunjata text, as I said before, is from, you know, African, is from Africa, Western Africa, and it's also an oral text. And it's really the oral text aspect which makes it sort of uncanonical, I would say, even though we have plenty of canonical texts in our Western tradition that were originally oral texts, the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible, the Iliad, the Odyssey, right? And so those are something to keep in mind. So oral culture versus textual culture. Woman as other, right? So um, most ancient texts and most ancient epic poetic texts or heroic texts are usually excluding women in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so um, epic texts are often seen to be serving patriarchy, male dominated culture, and so oftentimes women are presented in marginalized or dismissive terms.